Hi, I'm Dr. Gita Sedghi. I'm a senior lecturer in the Department of Chemistry. This is the Academics Developing Practice podcast.
So Gita, it's really lovely to speak to you today. We really appreciate you giving us some of your time. Firstly, we'd like to congratulate you on your National Teaching Fellowship that you were awarded back in August of this year in recognition of your work in relation to the enhancement of the student experience. It's wonderful news and many congratulations. But to start with, can you tell us a little bit about your professional background and how you've arrived at being a senior lecturer in the Department of Chemistry?
Thanks very much for congratulating me and my NTF. Very pleased to get that, in fact. And asking me about how I got in here. I'm glad you asked me because what I'm doing here, it directly relates to my background. And I try to make it brief because it's a long story. However, my background is chemical engineering, and I was working in a consulting engineering company. Loved my job until we came here 24 years ago for my husband's Ph.D. And then at that time, having a kid, 2-year-old, and my husband's study, I had to have a career break. However, I didn't stop. I went to different classes and tried to keep engaged with the community and learn new things. And then after that, I got a job in finance using my math skills as an engineer. 5 years I did that, promotion, good job, good salary. However, I felt like I missed out on my subject. So I started my PhD at Liverpool University, and I did my PhD not because I wanted to be a lecturer, it was my dream to do a PhD, which I did that. It was very challenging after a big gap with my degree. However, teaching as a PhD made me realize that I want to teach. So I applied for this lectureship job, and I got the job at the University of Liverpool. And then I was promoted to a senior lecturer in 2015. The job started in 2010 as a university teacher, and then without any career promotion pathway, but after that it was a career pathway, and I was successful to promote myself to where I am now.
Brilliant. It's lovely watching you talk about the journey that you've taken. You've obviously had some really good experiences within that. Thinking about your experience at the university, what is it that you really enjoyed about being the teacher and then the lecturer and then the senior lecturer? Are there any key things about those roles that bring out that smile on your face?
What I love about this, when I was interviewed for this job, they told me like, oh, you've done so many things, different things on your CV, and why do you want to teach now? And I said, because so many things I've done in the past, because I had to or not, but I managed to enjoy all of them. Now I want to use all the skills and experiences to teach students and to help them, because I think they are all valuable and has given me the skills to help these young people. And that's how I started. And my philosophy of teaching shaped because of different things I've done, and because I was here, I had a career break, not intentionally in here. I studied as an international student in here. I had no support and no one in here. I had a huge gap between my study and my degree and my PhD. So I was a mature student, in fact, and then when I became a lecturer, I was a woman of color in academia in a male-dominant environment. So all of them, I realized that I want to have inclusive environment for everyone, for our students, for the ones who have disability, for the ones who are international, the ones who they have a career responsibility. So that's how I did my best to help them.
Great. So would you frame your philosophy of teaching as about inclusion? Is that very much your philosophy?
Yes, inclusivity in HE is my focus.
Great.
Brilliant. So just bringing us to I suppose a more recent past, can you tell us about your teaching and learning innovation for chemistry, the undergraduate programs in particular, and the resulting pedagogical research that you did?
As I said, my focus is inclusivity in HE, and most of the work I've done, pedagogical research, is internationalization and peer-assisted learning, basically to help international students. When I realized that some extra TLU students from China are coming to Liverpool, and then are we prepared for them or not? So I came up with innovations and strategies to make sure everything is in place for these international students. I had like 2, 3, 5 years to adapt myself to England, to new life, but these students don't. They come here 2 years, they should make the most of it. So that was my intention. The other one was peer-assisted learning, again helping international students and home students to bridge the gap between school and university. That was another thing. It was my focus. And then I came up with different things like online assessment with increasing complexity for students without A-level maths, and pre-lab activities to help students like international students, weak students, or students with disability. However, what I have to note in here is, although all these innovations, it was because of tackling an issue with a specific group of students, but what I did was my practice was inclusive. It was for everyone. If it's internationalization, it's not for only international students. If it's maths, is not for students without A-level maths, is for all students with and without A-level maths. Every step is taken is to help everyone with their experience at university.
Yeah. And it sounds like you were in the best possible place to do that, having your experiences before. You had an advantage in some ways because you did have that. Was it 5 years you were in the country before?
It was I came here in 1995, right. And then I started my job as a lecturer in 2010. Right. So it was so many things I did, like voluntary job or different things in finance and studies, even electronics in here, everything, but doing finance for 5 years and then Ph.D. for 4 years, and then I got this job in 2010.
Right, okay. Thanks.
Brilliant. So just reflecting back on one of the other podcasts that we've recorded with Dr. Shelley Kemp, she introduced us to this idea of universal design. So rather than adapting the curriculum to specific groups, universally designing the curriculum so that all students could access it, whether they're international students or not, whether they're from a certain group or not. And is that kind of what you're saying in terms of the practice that you've been engaging?
Yes, exactly. For example, pre-lab activities, what I did was because I realized that for disabled students, some of them ask us to upload lecture notes in advance in Vital, and then we ask them to go to the lab unprepared and start your practical, and it's too intimidating for them. However, pre-lab activities are useful to international students who have language problems, so they can go through everything before and get prepared to go to the lab, and is for home students, is for everyone needs to be prepared because of health and safety in the lab. So for example, online assessment, yes, initially it was set up for students without A-level maths, but I have created them with increasing complexity. So they are advanced level tests for students with A-level maths or even further maths. There is something for them as well to challenge themselves.
So you talked about pre-lab exercises. Can you just give us a couple of examples of what they are?
When I started my work, I went to the lab, and the practice was like, we stood in there, we explained to students what they're going to do in the lab, and we asked them the night before coming to the lab to read through the script, what they're doing. And I realized when they were doing their experiment, not only they didn't read the script the night before, but that 10 minutes, 15 minutes demonstration at the beginning of the session didn't sink in. It wasn't much useful. And when you ask them, why do you mix this chemical with the other one, they say just because it's in the instructions, without thinking why they're doing that. They repeated, they made so many mistakes, and they couldn't relate their practical with the background theory. So that's why I came up with pre-lab activities. So every information is available in Vital. We asked them to go through all of them, and I have recruited again students who've done the course, senior students before. They create videos and photos, PowerPoint slides of experiments. I never do it myself. In my modules, they are all created by students because they know what common mistakes a student make. And also I give those students who work with me, the opportunity to be creative and use their initiative. I had a summer students last summer, which I said to him, I want this kind of videos. I want to improve old video. And he said, what software do you want me to use? And I said, I don't know anything about this technology. I want you to do it. Yeah. And he did it, and basically his work is amazing. If it's not professional, it's almost professional videos that's made. So it's enhancing his employability skills and doing something with real world examples, problems.
Great. So everything that you've designed, you then pulled together, and in August you received your National Teaching Fellowship in recognition of what you have been engaging in terms of your practice. Could you tell us a little bit about what the National Teaching Fellowship is and what you had to do to apply for that?
Basically, Advanced HE recognizes excellent teaching practice through National Teaching Fellowship, and I have to say it was one of the proudest moments in my life when I realized that I became NTF. It was like a Ph.D, which I did it because it was my dream. NTF was my dream because it gives me that confidence, that acknowledgement that I'm doing the right thing by students. And it might be like NTF would be stepstone for some people to get promotion or something, but NTF for me was the purpose, was the aim. So I loved it because of the acknowledgement nationally. I am very pleased to get that. What I did, it's basically I built up on everything I did during the past 9 years. It was in my claim because it's the NTF criteria is to bring the evidence of impact, transforming student experience, and it's to bring evidence of influencing colleagues and impact in their practice as a result of that, and also ongoing professional development and the impact of that in my practice. So it covered everything I've done during the past 9 years. It made me to reflect that why I did what I did. So everything I did, yes, it was because of promoting inclusivity in HE, and it was to tackling an issue. And because of that, because I experienced things myself, being like part of a group, they might be disadvantaged, they might feel they don't belong to the community, but I knew what the issue is. I had the sense of how it's demanding sometimes to feel you belong to community. So as a result of that, when I wrote the proposal for external funding, most of them I could secure the funding, because I could say there is an issue, we have to do something about this, and this is the way to do it.
So what drove you to want to innovate practice? Because we're faced with challenges all the time, but it sounds very clearly that you've seen challenges and you've responded to that, and you've wanted to make the student experience different. What really drove you to do that? It's
just to enhance the student experience, to transform them to global citizens, to become best employees in future. I don't think that our job is only to help them in our discipline, and help them to get like a good degree, top degree, 2-1 or first. We need to make people, they are confident, resilient, and they can secure jobs, future jobs, and they know what they want to do in future.
So you mentioned there, obviously, about the student experience. Have you got any examples you can provide of when you've seen that impact in the students from some of the things that you've been doing?
One of the things I've done is chemistry internship module, which was launched 2 years ago, and internationalization is my passion. I think we should look after the students who come in here, because they want to learn, they want in a new environment, they want to learn about culture and everything. And also we should encourage our students to go out and experience placement or study abroad. However, not many students can meet the criteria, 60% average, no receipt, and take exchange a semester or something abroad. So I was thinking about something more inclusive, something more students can participate in that. And then it was research internship module, which I adopted it from a School of Life Sciences. But I tailored it, I changed the criteria so students with less than 60% can do it as well. And it in fact helped students who are not first class students more than the ones who are always top students, because they got the opportunity to do research placement abroad. They get credit for that, they do it in summer, so they come back to university, they take less modules in year 3 so they can focus on their other modules. And for the first time in chemistry programs, we gave opportunity to BSc students to do research as well as master's students. Seeing some of the students that examples of like they didn't do very well in their year 2, but they were determined to make it work by taking this module and then put every effort in their year 3, and students that I didn't think, and they didn't think that they could get a 2-2, but they graduated with 2-1. It's to me is a huge success and fulfilling.
That's lovely. So what kind of placements did they go into for their research internship?
Initially it was in the first year, it was Thailand, and then I found a placement for one student specifically wanted to build up a career in Canada. However, when 19 students left in 2018-19 to Thailand and Canada, and it was successful. Skills audit evaluation of the module showed that students in fact did very well. They got high degrees, and then the skills audit showed that they enhanced their employability skills, resilience, confidence, transferable skills. So I thought this is now the time to promote this module. So basically, summer 2019, I sent 35 students to 7 countries around the world to do 6 weeks research placements.
Lovely.
Wow.
I really enjoyed hearing you speak recently about your work and about NTF, and one of the things that really came through in your talk was how generous you are in sharing your experiences with colleagues. Has any of the interventions that you've employed around student experience been adopted by other departments at the university?
Yes, that was in fact one of the things that I could become an NTF, and I love working with each other. I love sharing practice, and I have a record working with colleagues in this department, at university, other departments, school, within our faculty or outside the faculty, and external other universities. I think that when we share practice, that's the way we learn both sides, and we can promote our practice. So yes, peer-assisted learning has been adopted at the university by some departments, schools, and basically internationalization strategies activities are part of our strategies in our Faculty of Science and Engineering, and I'm hoping to promote even further peer-assisted learning university-wide.
Brilliant. I'd just like to return to what we were talking about with student experience, because obviously it's a dominant narrative across HE at the moment in terms of the NSS and TEF, and even at the university here we have student experience managers. Can you tell us some of your thoughts in terms of why student experience is so important now in HE, why there are the metrics surrounding that, and obviously you've built your NTF off the back of that interest.
As I said, like a student experience to me, it's not just helping them with their discipline, it's providing them with opportunities, co-curricular, extracurricular activities to become global citizens and confident, resilient employees in the future. So one of my aspects of my practice, peer-assisted learning, is giving students the chance to act as future employees. I circulate application to them, I shortlist them, some of them interview is involved, and they apply to become peer-assisted learning leaders. So apart from all the benefits of becoming a leader has for these students is the opportunity for them to practice leadership. This is something that not many opportunities we provide our students with to enhance their leadership skills. So again, just like real employees, a year after they can apply to become subject leaders, and then they can apply for promotion to become coordinators. So it helps me. It's a win-win situation. Like they run the scheme for me. Scheme is run by students for students. On the other hand, they gain the experience, leadership experience, which is very valuable, I believe, as undergraduate students. Another thing I believe is global citizenship. I always say to students that you don't know who you work with in the future, people from different background, culture, different language. So it's the opportunity for you at university to practice this and to build upon that, and you have something on your CV to talk in your interviews with future employers. Some students do exchange, go to other universities. Some students in our department take research internship modules, some of them summer schools, but some of them never leave university or even Liverpool. So it has to be opportunities for them as well, and it comes with the new initiative in our faculty. I'm leading a project which covers all schools and department is Liverpool XJTLU link activities. They are tasks, simultaneous tasks with the students, home students at Liverpool and students at XJTLU, which has an element of cultural learning. So all these things, I believe is part of a student experience too, because we want them to compete later on with other graduates, their universities around the world to secure job and become successful people in the future.
So thinking about some of those schemes that you've set up, for example, the peer-assisted supporter scheme, do the students see the value in that in terms of their student experience? My experience is sometimes that students are all about getting the 2-1 and the first that you've described. Yes. So why do they buy into that scheme? Because I'm guessing they're not getting paid to do that, or...
No, they're not getting paid for that. Past 2 years we've set up for them to be recorded on here. They just do the voluntary job, and believe me or not, I have too many applicants every year. I have too many PAL leaders. I believe if we inform students why we're asking them what to do, why we're giving this opportunity, they're gonna do it. And one of the aspects is just they do this voluntary job, and I got the Faculty Teaching and Learning Award because PAL leaders nominated me because they thought it enhances their confidence and employability skills and transferable skills. Another thing is to make sure they know that they work with us, not for us. And I always treat them just like my colleagues, and I tell them in the lecture theatre, I'm your lecturer, you're a student, but we're doing a project together, whether you are peer-assisted learning or summer projects with me, etc. We are colleagues, we are partners, we work with each other. So in fact, they ask for more. Our students' complaints is just, why don't we give us more sessions to facilitate the study sessions? They really do it because they enjoy it and they think they gain from it.
Great.
So just reflecting on what you've just said there, Gita, there's a big reason at the moment around nudge theory and things like that, and behavioural science, and it sounds like you've hit the four things that help people to change behaviour or to start something. So the four things, the acronym is EAST, and that's E is easy, A is attractive, S is social, and T is timely. So it sounds like you've made something easy to get onto. You made it attractive in terms of the skills that they come out from it with. It's social because they'll get to meet other people and get to socialise with people on the different projects, and it's timely because it fits in with their studies. Do you think that sounds about right?
It's definitely right. It's very interesting because I didn't hear about that. It adds something to my knowledge. Thanks very much. Yes, that's exactly. It's a very good reflection on peer-assisted learning.
Brilliant. So what's next for you? Because you've talked about the goal was NTF. That was the aim, and you've achieved that aim now. So what can you see coming in the next, over the next months, years, in terms of your own development and your own research and practice?
When I say goal, I never stop. And it's always like something else to do. It's when I say that I came up with online assessment for students to learn better in maths in a chemistry context, I'm not saying that I solved all the issue in this area. There's always something to improve, and which is my aim, to improve it every day. Internationalization is challenging. I'm not saying that I have resolved the issue of integration between home and international students. So there are loads of things to do. But every day, one step forward, I'm very happy with. It was in the SSLC, in fact, 2 days last week on Friday, when year 2 students said, we know that group work is an issue for students, especially home students. They say they find it difficult to, they think they get disadvantage. As part of our strategies in our department, we mix students with each other, different ability, home and international students. We've never had any complaints so far, like other departments or schools, maybe if they have it. However, it was amazing when year 2 students who did this mixed group told us in the SSLC, why don't you give this mixed group in year 1? This is very important part of employability skills if we work with people who we don't know well, not only our friends from year 1. So it was huge, and I thought, oh my God, that's another step forward, that students not only complain, but they have got it why they should work in mixed groups. So that's something like there are loads to do every day, step forward. And the other thing, NTF, it hopefully gives me opportunity for more collaboration. I love working with other people, so I'm part of a community, NTF network now, which gives me the opportunity to find people like-minded in areas that we have the passion for, and work with each other to enhance the student experience.
Brilliant. Well, thank you, Gita, and we really appreciate you spending some time with us today to talk to us about your experiences. We really like to finish each podcast with 3 or 4 kind of take-home tips for the listeners, so that they can just maybe spend some time reflecting in terms of their own personal practice. So we were just wondering if you could share some kind of hints and tips with us that we could think about.
What I think is important is for everyone to reflect on their teaching philosophy, why they're doing what they're doing, and then it makes things very much easier, like to progress and to promote our practice. Mine, as I said, is inclusivity in HE, but there are other colleagues with different philosophy, different focus, but it's important we get to that point that we realize why we're doing what we're doing. The other one is sharing practice and collaboration. What I got, my achievements, is all because I work with each other, I share practice, and I learn more during collaboration. Working with students as partners is a win-win situation. It's good for us because they give feedback on teaching and learning system. They see things from a different perspectives, students' view, and it complements our work. Treating students like partners, working with them, not them working for us, is very important. And I think whether each other's philosophy is inclusivity or not, we always should consider everyone, and whatever we do, we consider that it should be useful to all students, not particular group of students. That's it from me.
That's great.
Okay, thank you.
you.
Thank you for your time.
Well, that was our discussion with Gita, and many congratulations to her again for her National Teaching Fellowship recognition. It's brilliant, some of the stuff that she's been doing, and to be recognised in that way is a real honour. What I really enjoyed hearing from her about was how she'd framed her philosophy of teaching around inclusivity in HE. And this has come from her personal reflections on her experience of being a student and then an academic in HE. For me, that really challenged me to think about my philosophy of the way that I engage with students as well. I think also her work around the peer-assisted learning is something that I'm going to further reflect on. And she's really used that as a means to bridge the gap between school and university. And I think there's a lot there in terms of, maybe I'm going to go away and read some of her papers on that to think about in terms of particularly bridging that gap for students.
Yeah, I really liked how she adopted and tailored that research internship module so that students had an opportunity to work on research projects abroad, which then also had the knock-on effect of enhancing the confidence and some of those employability traits that students will obviously will need going forward. Also, I mean, I mentioned in the podcast as well, because something she spoke about made me think about the book Nudge by Cass Sunstein and Richard Thaler. And she made something happen by making it easy, attractive, social and timely. And I'm really into that at the moment. So, I mean, I would recommend that you all go out there and go find that book and give that a read.
Brilliant. So we'll put the link to that book on the website. If you'd like to take any of the thinking from today further, there is a resources page on the website where that book will be, and also quite a few of Gita's journal articles for you to read. If you go to liverpool.ac.uk/the-academy/podcast, they'll all be listed there for you to have a look at. Do let us know what you thought about the episode today. We'd love to hear back from you. You can send us your feedback on Twitter @LiveUniAcademy.
Yeah, and if you can please rate and review in Apple Podcasts, or simply subscribe to the podcast via Spotify, Google Podcasts, or YouTube, or your regular podcast platform. Bye for now.